The cell throbs. It's a silent, almost imperceptible pulse that seems to echo through the very walls. The air is thick with an oppressive stillness, a quiet that screams louder than any noise ever could. The silence is a living entity, wrapping itself around the prisoners, squeezing the breath from their lungs. Not with noise, but with silence. A silence so profound it drowns out thoughts, leaving only the relentless ticking of the clock. The corridor outside is empty, a desolate stretch of concrete and steel, illuminated by a single solitary ray of light that seems to mock the darkness. Each second, a hammer blow against the bars of reality. The clock's hands move with a mechanical precision, each tick a reminder of the inexorable march of time. The bars, cold and unyielding, stand as a testament to the inescapable nature of fate. No escape, just the countdown. The prisoner's eyes are glued to the clock, each second dragging him closer to an uncertain future. The weight of inevitability presses down on him, a constant crushing force. 24 hours. One day to face the abyss. The calendar on the wall is marked with red crosses, each one a day lost, a step closer to the edge. The prisoner stares at it, his mind a whirlwind of fear and resignation. John Thompson, my friend, my brother, sits on his bunk, head in his hands. His shoulders are slumped, the weight of the world bearing down on him. He's a man on the brink, teetering on the edge of an abyss that threatens to swallow him whole. He's not a saint, never claimed to be, but in this moment, he is every man who has ever faced the unimaginable. His eyes, once full of life, are now dull and lifeless, reflecting the hopelessness that has taken root in his soul. But tonight he's every son, every father facing the unimaginable. He holds a photo of his family, the faces of his loved ones, a painful reminder of what he stands to lose. The memories flood back, each one a dagger to the heart. The finality of it all hangs in the air, thick and suffocating. The cell feels smaller, the walls closing in, the air heavy with the weight of impending doom. Each breath is a struggle, each heartbeat a reminder of the precious time slipping away. We talk, but words are clumsy things. They fall short, unable to capture the depth of our emotions. We speak in hushed tones, our voices barely more than whispers, as if afraid to disturb the fragile silence that surrounds us. Inadequate for the grief, the fear, the raw terror etched on his face. His eyes are wide, his face pale, every line and wrinkle a testament to the torment he is enduring. The fear is palpable, a living, breathing entity that has taken hold of him. He tells me he can smell the pine box they'll bury him in. The scent is vivid in his mind, a haunting reminder of the fate that awaits him. It's a smell that clings to him, a constant, unwelcome companion. He says it smells like freedom. A bitter irony, the scent of his final resting place offering a twisted sense of liberation. It's a cruel joke, a final mocking twist of fate. As the day bleeds into night, the prison transforms. The shadows lengthen, the darkness deepens, and the air grows colder. The walls seem to close in, the cell shrinking, becoming a tomb. A stage set for a macabre play. The prison becomes a theater, the guards and prisoners actors in a grim performance. The atmosphere is charged, electric with the tension of what is to come. Guards move with a practiced efficiency, their faces betraying nothing. They are the silent sentinels, their movements precise and mechanical. They are the keepers of this dark place, their duty a heavy burden. But I see it in their eyes, the weight of what's to come. Behind the stoic masks, there is a flicker of humanity, a glimmer of the burden they carry. They know what lies ahead, and it haunts them as much as it haunts us. In the cold light of statistics, John is one of 2,436 individuals, each with a unique story, a unique past, and a unique set of circumstances that led them to this point. These numbers are not just figures on a board, they represent real people, with real lives and real families who are affected by their absence. That's how many souls sit on death row in America tonight. Each one of these souls is waiting, often in isolation, for a fate that is both final and irreversible. The weight of this reality is almost too much to bear, yet it is a reality that we must confront. Each a number, a case file, a statistic. But these statistics are more than just data points, they are the culmination of a series of events, decisions, and actions that have led to this moment. Each case file contains the details of a life that has been irrevocably changed, often in ways that are difficult to comprehend, but behind each number, a story. A story of a person who once had dreams, aspirations, and hopes for the future. These stories are often complex, filled with moments of joy and sorrow, success and failure. They are stories that deserve to be heard, understood, and remembered. A life lived, a crime committed, a punishment meted out, the death penalty. This ultimate punishment is not just a legal sentence, it is a moral and ethical dilemma that challenges our very understanding of justice and humanity. A system riddled with flaws, shot through with the poison of racial bias. These flaws are not just minor imperfections, they are systemic issues that have far-reaching consequences. Racial bias, in particular, has a profound impact on who is sentenced to death and who is not. Black, brown, poor, these are the faces of condemnation. These individuals are often the most vulnerable in our society, lacking the resources and support needed to navigate a complex and often unjust legal system. Their stories are a stark reminder of the inequalities that persist in our society. The system doesn't claim to be fair, but it should at least be just. Justice is not just about punishment, it is about fairness, equity, and the recognition of our shared humanity. It is about ensuring that every individual is treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their circumstances. And it's not even close. The reality is that our current system falls far short of these ideals. It is a system that often prioritizes retribution over rehabilitation, punishment over understanding. John, a young black man convicted of a crime he swore he didn't commit, is living proof of that injustice. His story is not unique. It is a story that is all too common in a system that is deeply flawed. His appeals exhausted, his fate sealed by a system more concerned with vengeance than truth. This is a system that often values finality over accuracy, closure over justice. As the hours tick by, I'm reminded that this isn't just about John, it's about us. It is about the kind of society we want to be, the values we want to uphold, and the legacy we want to leave for future generations. About the society we become when we choose vengeance over redemption. When we allow our desire for retribution to overshadow our capacity for compassion and understanding. When we forget the sanctity of every human life. Every life is valuable. Every person deserves a chance at redemption. It is up to us to ensure that our system reflects these values, that it is a system that is fair, just, and humane. Dawn breaks, cold and unforgiving. The air crackles with tension. The final 24 hours are a flurry of activity. A last phone call, choked with tears and whispered goodbyes. A visit from the chaplain, words of comfort ringing hollow in the face of oblivion. John's lawyer arrives, his face drawn and haggard. They speak in hushed tones, their eyes darting to the clock on the wall. Time, the ultimate enemy, marches on. Then, the final indignity. The strip search, the rough pat-down, the shackles biting into his flesh. Each act a reminder of his powerlessness, his humanity stripped away piece by piece. Tradition dictates a last meal, a final indulgence before the ultimate deprivation. John chooses fried chicken, collard greens, and sweet potato pie. The food of his childhood, a fleeting connection to a life slipping away. We share the meal in silence, the weight of the impending execution heavy in the air. Each bite a struggle, each swallow a testament to the tenacity of the human spirit. Even in the face of death, life clings on. Afterward we pray. Not for a miracle, but for peace, for strength in the face of fear, for the grace to face the unknown with dignity and courage. As the day wears on, John retreats into himself. The walls of his cell seem to close in, the silence becoming deafening. Each tick of the clock echoes like a drumbeat in his mind, a constant reminder of the time slipping away. He sits on the edge of his bed, staring at the cold, hard floor, lost in a sea of thoughts and memories. Lost in memories, haunted by regrets. His mind drifts back to a time when life was simpler, when dreams were still within reach. He sees a younger version of himself, full of hope and ambition, unaware of the dark path that lay ahead. The flashbacks are vivid, each scene a painful reminder of what could have been. He speaks of his childhood, his dreams, the moments that shaped him. There were days filled with laughter, with the warmth of family and friends. He remembers the joy of playing in the sun, the innocence of youth. But those memories are now tainted by the knowledge of what he has done, the mistakes that led him to this place. The mistakes that led him to this place. Each wrong turn, each bad decision, plays out in his mind like a never-ending movie. He sees the faces of those he has hurt, the lives he has destroyed. The weight of his actions is a heavy burden, one that he carries with him every day. He speaks of the victims of his crime, their faces etched into his memory. He remembers their pain, their suffering, and it tears at his soul. His voice trembles as he talks about them, each word filled with sorrow and regret. He knows that no amount of remorse can undo the damage he has caused, but he hopes that by acknowledging his wrongs, he can find some semblance of peace. His voice thick with remorse. The tears flow freely as he speaks, each one a testament to the pain he feels. He doesn't try to hide his emotions, he lets them wash over him, cleansing his soul. There is a rawness to his grief, an honesty that is both heartbreaking and humbling. There's a rawness to his grief, an honesty that's both heartbreaking and humbling. In these moments, he is stripped of all pretense, laid bare for the world to see. His pain is palpable, a living, breathing thing that consumes him. But in that pain there is also a glimmer of hope, a chance for redemption, an honesty that's both heartbreaking and humbling. In these final hours, he confronts the darkness within himself, seeking atonement in the face of his own mortality. He knows that his time is running out, that the end is near, but he is determined to face it with courage, to make amends for his past. In these final hours he confronts the darkness within himself, the demons that have haunted him for so long. He looks into the mirror, seeing not just his reflection, but the sum of all his fears and regrets. It is a moment of reckoning, a chance to come to terms with his past and find a way forward, seeking atonement in the face of his own mortality. He kneels in prayer, his heart heavy with the weight of his sins. He looks up, seeking forgiveness not just from a higher power but from those he has wronged. It is a moment of vulnerability, a plea for mercy in the face of his own humanity. I listen, my heart breaking for him, for his victims, for a world that seems to have no place for redemption. I feel his pain, his sorrow, and it resonates deep within me. It is a reminder of the fragility of the human spirit, of the capacity for both great good and great evil. For a world that seems to have no place for redemption. We live in a world that often forgets the power of forgiveness, that overlooks the possibility of change. But in John's story, I see a glimmer of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is a chance for redemption. We are all broken in our own ways, each of us carrying our own burdens, our own regrets. But it is in acknowledging our brokenness, in facing our flaws, that we find our true strength. It is in these moments of vulnerability that we discover our humanity. But it's in confronting our brokenness that we find our humanity. It is in the act of picking up the pieces, of mending what is broken, that we find redemption. John's story is a testament to the power of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of our darkest moments, there is always a chance for hope, for forgiveness, for redemption.